At 8 years old, fortune teller read my fate.
A noble destiny. You are destined for great fortune.
So, from that day on, Mom banned me from chores, made my fingers slender, willowy figure, hoping for a good husband. But no one knew. At 15, Dad wed me to Ethan, the mute tofu seller next door. An old neighbor said, when I was born, Mom wasn't too happy. She wanted a boy. Not for that. Just because Dad is a butcher. He butchers pigs. He always needed help. A girl like me couldn't hold down a pig to kill it. So for a long time, Mom was always worried. Until I grew up. Prettier each year, Mom panicked. Our families, though. There hadn't been such a beauty before. So who did I take after? No one knew. At 8, Mom took me to Qinghe for lanterns, met a fortune teller. Mom gave him meat soup. He read my fortune, said a noble destiny. Great fortune awaits. Whether true or not, Mom was overjoyed. At home, she started planning. A girl's greatest fortune is to marry a good husband. Dad didn't believe it, but Mom said,
if it were made up, how would he know Lily's birth chart?
Dad was speechless, though it felt off. He couldn't argue back. Besides, in his eyes, a girl like me, spoiling was deserved. Since then, Mom changed. When Dad killed pigs, she'd hold pigs down. I'd catch the pig's blood. But now she said,
a girl like me can't be covered in pig stink.
No more rough work. Kept me from the shop. She followed Aunt Wang, bought lots of silk thread, embroidery at home, cultivating grace. They worked the shop all day. At night, still bought cheap bird's nest, made me beauty soup. She said ladies from rich families eat this. But I think bird's nest tastes about the same, like our usual tremella. Mom, why so obsessed? As if under a spell, but my fingers grew slender. Graceful form, my pride grew too. When Aunt Wang visited, she'd praise me as the prettiest girl, the fairest girl, a natural beauty. Mom would smile then, her smile wrinkling her eyes, her rough hands on my hand, rubbed again.
I just hope my Lily marries well, or her beauty would be wasted.
Aunt Wang agreed. Mom was sure I'd marry as she expected, into wealth, but none foresaw. At 15, Dad betrothed me to the mute man next door who sells tofu. Once the news broke, Sweetwater Lane was buzzing. Who didn't know the Jiangs were poor? The Jiangs lost their parents early, leaving only siblings to survive together. Vivian was sharp-tongued. If anyone skipped paying for tofu, she'd corner and curse them for days. Ethan was gentle and calm, handsome too. A shame he was mute, though he was marriageable. The neighborhood girls, they avoided his family. A poor, struggling home who'd send a daughter to suffer, my father alone. Mom was the first to object. Not for that, since she raised me tenderly. Not to send me to be a tofu seller's wife. In her plans, her daughter, so fair and lovely, could marry even a magistrate's son. How could she sink so low as to wed a mute tofu seller? But however hard she slammed the cleaver, Dad stuck to his decision.
What makes a good family? The rich Song family in the east, or the Zhao official in the west. Do you know how high those rich families' thresholds? You could break our backs trying and never reach it. If Lily married into such a home, never mind being the principal wife, she would surely suffer.
Mom opened her mouth, but couldn't argue back. She looked down and saw the bumpy, muddy ground. Looking up, she saw the cracked eaves, and I stood in my pink dress, out of place. But no matter how misplaced, it didn't change that I was a village girl. Dad differed from Mom. Mom's talk of noble destiny, great fortune. To him, just daydreaming. So, by his logic, a butcher's girl wed a farmer or peddler. At worst, Ethan, the tofu man, sufficed. After all, tofu stew is tasty. Plus, if bullied at the Jiangs, one shall. Mom'd come with her cleaver. In Dad's view, that was pure joy. My marriage to Ethan was rushed. Though Mom seemed tough on big matters, she always obeyed Dad. Since this was my big choice, she dared not trust that fortune teller. Unlike men, if a woman picks wrong, she'd be skinned alive. 3 days on, the Jiang siblings came to present the betrothal gift, wedding letter and goose. They added much more. 8 bolts of cloth, 6 chicken stocks, 6 millet, even a pepper pouch.
There is no elder at home to consult. I don't know if this is enough. If there's anything lacking, please tell me, sister. Don't let Lily feel wronged.
She spoke very frankly, not only Dad, but even Mom, displeased. Smiled a little. Isn't this enough? I've seen others' betrothal gifts. Never this much. Though Mom raised me picky, I know the weight of this gesture. Vivian spoke to my parents. I sat within, through a tiny window gap, eyeing Ethan in the courtyard. He wore half-new coarse cloth clothes, awkwardly in the corner, face not clear, yet seemed tall, like bamboo, or a door bar. In short, he felt reassuring, stirring no waves. Found chickens and ducks flapped, herded them swiftly. I felt let down, not for that, since childhood. People kept saying, my husband, a scholar, top scholar, young master, gentleman. He'd praise my beauty with poetry, paint my brows. His hands, for brush and jade, yet Ethan herds chickens like other men on the lane. I can imagine hands that grind the mill on my skin, like yard cloth and rope. No different. I bowed, touching my lovely face in mirror. My chest grew tight. I knew that churning feeling, my pride, consuming, crushing my sense. In a flash, I thought to flee. So, the wedding eve, I fled. Betty and I planned to flee. She is a real beauty. Aunt Wang wouldn't marry her off. She'd have her work as a maid for the rich. Night dew is heavy, lonely night. A boat to Suzhou docked there. A crone stood at the prow. When she saw Betty and me, she beamed. Eyes squeezed shut. The maid-buying woman hailed from Suzhou, a steward for a rich household. Aunt Wang took 5 taels. She signed Betty's contract. She didn't mind.
My mom said, working as a head maid for the gentry. Just like being a proper lady. Sure, it is tough for a year or two. Once free, you can marry as you please. Marry who you like.
Moonlight lit Betty's face, looking proud. I felt a thrill. Mom had considered this before. I am pretty, good enough to be a maid for the gentry. Because if you could serve in a rich house, you'd learn a lot. It'd help in future marriage talks. Better a maid from wealth, not a lowly girl. That makes sense. I was arrogant then. Too proud. Serving seemed degrading. I said no. Looking back now, how stupid. Mating for the wealthy. From this cramped place, a tofu wife in this cramped lane. Your daughters would grind beans daily. At 15, marry a merchant. That won't do. But most of all, the worst part. My stunning face. I daydreamed. I pictured the grand estate. And a fine master. My scroll-like life, my future yet to come. My excitement grew. Without thinking, I pulled Betty aboard. Boatman on the rope. I set foot on the plank. At the edge of the shore, someone pulled me back. Whirled, startled, and saw a man's face.
Ethan, what are you doing here?
Lips pressed, gaze down, like a fluffy pup. I stood frozen, weary. Hold my arm free.
Let go.
Ethan shook his head. His grip tightened. Anger flared. Betty glared.
Lily, he is here to stop you. If not now, never get away. Kwasa?
A stick from her. Eyes on Ethan, downcast. I froze. Hesitated. Couldn't do it. Mom and Dad raised me. Would I deserve them if I ran away and brought them a murder charge? The rope pulled taut. 2 steps back to shore. The old woman sighed. Across rippling waves, Betty spat at me. Exasperated.
You've got eyes bigger than your stomach. Just, you wait. Rot in that tofu shop forever!
Ethan looked up. Eyes flickered. The boat sailed away. My spirit sank. I knew then. All those strange, grand dreams were gone for good. And I, Lily, was just an ordinary girl after all. The Sweetwater Lane with Ethan. Dawn was breaking. Doors and windows sealed. In the dark, only our yard was lit. Gate just opened. Dad came out with his butcher's ladder.
You insolent little brat! So full of yourself! You ran away from your wedding! Dad's teaching you today. You won't escape punishment!
I was scared. I know how much that club hurts. Only I know. I ran. Dad chased with club. Suddenly, it was pandemonium. The yard was small. I ran 2 laps when Dad almost caught me. Ethan blocked Dad. He took the club to the corner. Mom relaxed at last. She retorted.
Ethan, don't protect her. I raised her badly. Now, she has embarrassed both families. She needs to be taught a lesson now.
Though she said so, Sweetwater Lane knows I was spoiled. Never a bruise or scratch beaten. Not me.
Aunt, that is an overstatement. A young girl's tantrum is only natural. This marriage was us reaching high. I can understand if Lily doesn't want to. Now that there has been this fuss, if Lily insists on refusing, then it is better to cancel the wedding. Though our Jiang family is poor, we still have some dignity.
In other words, to cancel it. They exchanged a glance, at a loss for words. It is already common knowledge. If I am also jilted, marrying well will be hard. She turned to leave. Ethan blocked her. He gestured with his hands. We couldn't understand. Vivian scolded her brother quietly.
Why are you so stubborn? They disrespected you so, and you are still after her.
It is like she is fed up with him. She tugged at him to go home. Ethan hung his head, stood under the eaves, still.
Ethan, uncle, the food and drink are ready. It is not proper to back out now. If Lily is willing, then let's proceed with the wedding.
Mom was glad. Dad nodded, rubbing his hands. Food and drinks at home, wedding things were ready. In 3 days, they prepared everything. I married Ethan. The wedding was grand, although our families weren't far. A short walk, but they had a sedan. Mom has always been feisty. When she dressed me, she seldom cried, not sure if she grieved, as she had hoped to marry well, or glad I grew up. Before the veil, Mom slipped on a bracelet. 2 warm tears fell on my hand.
Lily, now that you are married, live well from now on. If you suffer any wrong, just come back and tell Mom and Dad. Your dad is a butcher. If Ethan's mean...
I was startled, covered her mouth. Mom then stopped. I was relieved. I got in the sedan. The music played briefly. The sedan stopped. My face was veiled. I couldn't see. I groped for the curtain, but I tripped on the dress. I stumbled into warm arms. A hand gripped my wrist. My cheeks blushed. I was safer. The Johns had Qinghe. I didn't wait long. The door opened. The next moment, the veil came up. Light flooded my eyes. Ethan stood before me, just staring at me. Under the dim oil lamp, his lashes trembled like butterflies. He gestured with his hands. I missed it. In the quiet, he leaned in and undid it. Today my wedding, so my hair was fancy. Ethan took a while to take off the piece. Then, his hands moved to my waist. I jumped in fright.
Ethan! What are you doing?
Wedding Eve. Mom taught me the marital arts. I knew well what Ethan's gesture meant, but we were strangers. Now so sudden, a bit panicked. Ethan bit his lip. His hands didn't stop. The belt with the lover's knot came undone. The red dress slid onto the bed and merged with the quilt. I knew resistance was futile, so I shut my eyes and let it happen. But after a wait, Ethan didn't move. When I looked again, food filled the table. Ethan gestured again, but worried I might not get it, so he lifted a bowl and mimed eating. I understood. He wanted me to eat. My stomach rumbled loudly on cue. No more coyness. I took a bite of the bun. The sides were simple. Just homemade pickled cabbage and stir-fried tofu topping, but eating it felt comforting. While I was eating, since we were dining, why undress me then? Just thinking. Forehead, sudden warmth, reached to touch it, but only a warm cloth, and Ethan's warm hand. He looked away, flustered, then he lifted my skirt, revealing my bruised knee, and treated it. One hand with half a bun, the other on the warm cloth. I froze. How'd you know my knee was hurt? After Ethan and Vivian left, Dad made me kneel 2 hours. It wasn't a harsh penalty, but my skin is tender. Days of medicine didn't help. Mom didn't tell anyone about this. How did Ethan know? He gestured, wedding sedan. Fell. I finally got it. It was leaving the wedding sedan. I almost fell, he saw. The deaf have sharp eyes, blind hear well. Though Ethan can't talk, he observes things more carefully than others. I chewed quietly, looking at him. I saw pity in my eyes. Ethan ignored it. He took the cool rag from my brow. He rinsed it in hot water, applied it again. My forehead's red. Applied will help. Flickering light, Ethan gestured. His dark eyes reflected warmth, shining like stars. Warmth spread from my brow to my heart. I heard my amused voice. Okay. Next day, I woke up late. Yesterday wore me out. I was sore from head to toe. I forced myself up. Ethan was not at home. It was late. He was at the shop. The stove was still warm. I lifted the pot lid. I saw food. Breakfast was simple. Just millet porridge, plus 2 veggie plates. Cooking simple. The veggies were freshly cooked. 2 eggs nestled in. I couldn't complain. Just took 2 bites. Ethan and Vivian came. Ethan led with the luggage. He saw me. His ears turned red. He went back to tidy up. Vivian came in, just got up, which means, what bride sleeps late on her first day? My face burned. I was speechless. Ethan hurried over from the back. He gestured, tired from yesterday. You should sleep more. Vivian said, you are protecting her. Then she turned. She tossed out my almost uneaten veggies. Ethan watched me like a scolded dog. Vivian doesn't like me. It is just because I fled a wedding and shamed Ethan. She has been with Ethan since she was little. She is resentful. Yet now, as Jiang's new bride, it is still me. Her resentment is fair. Her anger wasn't just talk. She also required me to help with tofu making. Tofu starts early, rise before dawn. The autumn night is cold. Seeps through the bones, it devours sleep completely. Jiang's grind tofu with care. No, Bungie used pushed by hand. She says, this tofu is smooth and fragrant, hard on me. I ground tofu for 2 days. The skin on my hand wore raw, stabbing pain. I ground and sold tofu at the shop. So exhausting. Just 2 days, I was done for. Ethan tried to stop it. He stared and gestured wildly. Vivian retorted, you sell tofu. Your wife can't make tofu. How can business go on? You are still here, I thought to myself. Ethan must have thought so. He kept quiet, watching. Vivian's eyes wandered. Her gaze drifted to Leo. I am your sister, after all. Even though I am in charge, I'll marry off someday. The shop, so large then, only on you? Peddlers from Suzhou. He is neat, his trade is solid. Before I married, I used to buy thread from him. I saw him with Vivian's trunk. Both were weighed down by family. Past 20, unmarried, they converse well. Ethan didn't expect it. He pursed his lips, no comeback. Sold tofu for 2 days. The 3rd day, Vivian didn't rouse me. Slept well, woke naturally. Eyes opened, Ethan sat neatly beside my bed. He wore new clothes today. Looked spirited. As I woke, he stood quickly, he gestured. Gestures too fast. I gazed for a moment. I was lost. I saw gifts heaped on the table. Today we visit my folks. I hastily washed and dressed. Then I took Ethan out. The way home isn't far, just 2 bends in the lane. Mom was waiting at the door, peering. Saw me and Zhao. Her eyes crinkled, but she pinched my waist lightly. Silly girl, you're back so late. You overslept. You held us up. Tongue out. Felt wronged. Zhao didn't wake me. That is it. How was that my fault? Dad didn't sell me today. Food and wine set out. Saw Zhao come in. His face lit up. Zhao, you're here. Our Lily's a kid. Any trouble from her? Zhao smiled. Shook head. My dad remained uneasy. He asked, does she sleep till the sun's well up? Is she lazy about chores? Did she upset your sis? Or did she? A barrage of questions. Jiang Zhao was flustered. Just moved to take some food, dropped them signing to my dad. Over and over. He hadn't eaten a single bite. I said helplessly, Dad, can't you let him eat in peace? Dad froze. He realized, oh, I forgot. Mom laughed so hard, a long while. At last, Jiang Zhao got his first bite. Can't stay at Mom's overnight. At dusk, we got ready to go. As we left, Mom pulled me aside. She asked quietly, did you consummate? She was sneaky just to ask. I blushed, annoyed. Mom rolled her eyes. You're married now, still calling me Mom. You'll be a mother soon. My face burned. I muttered, I know. Is he treating you well? He wrung out cloths and applied ointment. You can tell he is good-natured. Most men wouldn't do that, as kind as him. Seeing my nod, Mom was relieved. She added, see Jiang, the kid's gentle and mild, though not well off. He has a small business. Don't be too proud, or scorn him. Hurry and consummate, then have a baby. As for Jane, Mom gently touched my palm blisters. The blisters gleamed. A touch brought sharp pain. Her eyes held pity. Jane seems a good kid. She's just testing you. She's just upset. Know what matters. Once you and Jake have a good life, her anger will fade. Understand? I nod, fingers curled, felt the pain, and my lingering pride. She kept chattering. She whispered near, if you consummate. Best on a full moon night, for harmony. Children around, I'd heard enough. My cheeks burned, covered ears, tore free, and fled. Pulled Jake out the door. Back at Jake's, we made no progress. It wasn't me, but each night, he'd quietly bring his mat and spread it by the bed, fully clothed, not daring to touch quilt, as if I were a delicate glass or a monster draining life. I toss at night, I hear his breath tighten. That cautious look, as if I'd abuse him. I don't mind him, even feel some warmth from his care. But I won't fawn over him. The pride of Mom's pampering, though much worn, a stubborn streak remains. And so deep winter came. Half-foot icicles hung from Sweetwater Lane's eaves. Wind whipped snow in my face, cut like knives. Scarlet stayed cold to me, grind beans at dawn. She gave me the heaviest sack. Stone mill, heavy, one turn at the mill. My arms ached, couldn't lift. She watched coldly when I curdled. Had I slowed a step, she'd wrap the mill with her scoop. A sharp clack made my heart clench. I heeded Mom, curbed all my pride. Each dawn, I rose in the cold. my hands soaked in icy well water, washing the soybeans. I got chilblains soon, red, swollen fingers. The coarse cloth hurt to touch, yet she always found fault, called my tofu tough. Crumbled when squeezed. Tomorrow, dregs not filtered, tofu tasted gritty. That morning, frigid weather, I still and well. My hands were too stiff to filter. A little slow, Jiang Ying snatched my filter cloth, slammed it on the mill. Dreg splashed on me. She said coldly, "Can't do this, little." Unfit as Jiang's wife, still acting like a spoiled miss. Be served. Words like icy needles stabbed deep into me. Days of bitterness suddenly surged. Broke my last restraint. Glared at her, eyes red, clenched my frozen hands. My nails dug in. I've working dawn to dusk with you. Never slack. Not one complaint. Why treat me so harshly? Though I fled before, but I am Jiang's wife now. No other goal. If you truly hate me, just say so. I won't stay where I am not wanted. Threw my ladle down, turned and went in and slammed the door shut. Though Jiang Ying yelled, I stayed inside. Zhao was frantic, like ants on a hot pan, rushed between my room and the shop, then by my door crack, waving his hands, eyes full of pleading, urging me, then tugged at Ying, trying to quiet her. Fingertips pale with stress, gestured so fast they blurred. The siblings, one fuming, the other hurt. Neither would budge, stuck in between, torn. Then squatted on the porch, hands on knees, head hung low, like an abandoned puppy. All alone, 2 days of this. I stayed indoors, wouldn't go out. Jiang Zhao brought hot meals and knocked daily. No answer, left food at the door. Gently gesturing, eat a little. Worried I'd starve. At night, in bed, I'd hear his soft footsteps outside. Light as a cat's, till late, before he tiptoed back to his bed. At last, one snowy morning, just before dawn, outside, all white, I heard Ying grinding tofu alone. Heart felt heavy. I got up, telling no one. Just half a string of coins. I pushed open the door and left the Jiang house. I meant to go home, but if Mom knew I'd quarreled with Ying, she'd call me silly. Just bear it. I dropped it. In the bitter cold, no one around. Shops on both sides were closed. A few breakfast stalls stood with awnings, steam rising in wisps. Snowflakes blew into my collar. Shivering cold, no fun at all. I wandered by the moat most of the day. Thin ice on the moat, sunlight shone on the ice, blinding glare. At noon, I passed a pastry shop, smelled of walnut and osmanthus cakes. My stomach growled, so I went in. Bought 2 packs. 1 pack was sweet. Jack has a sweet tooth. If I want back, give him some, as a way to make peace. Just drifting, until evening. The snow stopped. Slanting sunset glow, snow dyed, warm yellow. I had my 2 packs. I slowly walked back to Sweetwater Lane. Just inside the lane, heard by the old locust tree, women chatting. One of them, it was Nosy Aunt Live. She always gossips, every little thing. When she says it, all Sweetwater Lane knows. She has sharp tongue, no mercy at all. Ying, no Lily today. Sulking again. Aunt Lee's voice was sharp, with feigned interest. Your new bride, too delicate. A tofu wife, and sulking all day. I'd say, she still scorns your Zach. Hoping to run again. Ying led. Empty tofu yolk, thin snow on her shoulders, voice soft, yet clear. She has been tired for days. She should rest. Can't let the new bride work all day. Not even a hot meal. Aunt Lee snickered. Her laugh grated. You defend her. You are just too naive. Your brother's new bride needs watching. The bride price is paid. If she runs off with a man again, not worth it. Then, your Zhao will be a laughingstock. I'm mute. Can't even keep a wife. Run away. Jiang Ying's voice turned cold. She stopped, looked at Lai. Her eyes sharp. You are just a girl. Pre-wedding jitters. One night with family. How come from your mouth? So I am eloping. So your daughter visits home often. Is that running off too? Aunt Lee always loved to gossip. Now left speechless by Jiang Ying's words, her face pale, she finally grumbled. Just kidding. And you got so upset. Offhand remark, Jiang Ying stepped forward. She glanced at Lee with a cold stare. Lee spoke. Her tongue was loose. But some words can be, some words cannot. Lily is our lawful wife. Outsiders have no say. Lee saw Ying mad. She didn't back down, snorted coldly. Her tone more biting. Run away. Not my concern. I just feel for your brother. Such a hard life. Lost both parents at birth, then high fever left him mute. Now if his wife runs too, he'd be all alone, with no one to rely on. This fate is just too bitter. All knew Zhang's dad, while selling beans outside, was killed by bandits. It was no curse. They survived together. They kept a home as children. Very hard. Everyone knew, kept silent on the subject, for fear of hurting the siblings. But now Aunt Lai, with her sharp tongue, said such heart-piercing words, though Ying was fierce. She shook with fury. Her knuckles whitened. Zhao ahead with the other pole. Paused, just a little. He stiffened, but didn't turn. Still head down, trudged slowly forward. He always had sharp ears. Aunt Lei's words, he must have heard. He just can't speak, can't even argue back. Must swallow those sharp words, and choke them down. His thin shoulders trembled in the cold wind. At the lane, hearing these words, my heart burned like scalding porridge, numb and sore. It hurt so much. I squeezed the pastry, hurried on, kicked a stone hard. The stone flew out with a whiz, and landed right behind Li's knee. Aunt Lee cried in pain, stumbled a bit, turned round, and saw me. I grinned and went. I feigned support, a soft tone, but each word stung. Oh, it is just Aunt Lai, blame my mischief. Bored. I kicked a stone, hit you by mistake. So sorry. But oddly, of all these people, why did it hit you? The pebble had eyes, or are you just born unluckier? Faked a dawning, and shrugged. Oh, so that is it. If not, why are your children both such failures? Others jinx their spouses, you likely jinx your kids. Some neighbors walking by heard, held back laughs, bowed their heads, dared not speak. All Sweetwater Lane knows. Aunt Lee loves gossip. She barely raised her kids. Her daughter married 3 times young. Each ended in chaos. They all ended in divorce. He is over 30. Still, a bachelor. Idles all day. Wanders the streets. Done much petty mischief. Aunt Lee's lenient. But gossips about others. Now I've hit a nerve. She asked for it. Aunt Lee turned crimson, trembling with anger. Hoits, she is tongue-tied. Why, you little brat. How so sharp-tongued? I don't waste words. Brush her off. Coolly step forward. Take Jiang Zhao's tofu pole. The load is light. Seems the tofu sold out. Then I pull out the sweet peach pastry. Unwrap it. Pick up a piece. Bring it to his lips. Fed him. I was lazy today. Bought some peach pastry. Your favorite sweet treat. Is the shop still busy? He stands frozen, pastry in mouth, eyes wide open. At me, not reacting. I shook my head. Cookie crumbs stuck to my lips. He was silly. Not sure if he meant he could or not. I burst out laughing. Reached out to wipe crumbs from his lips. His ears instantly flushed red. The redness spread to his neck. Even his cheeks flushed faintly pink. Turned away, didn't dare look. Quietly bit the cookie. Brows curved in joy, seeing how close we were. So in love. A moment of silence. All dispersed. Aunt Lee left in shame. Shot me a glare. Left in disgrace. I caught a glimpse of Jane, watching us together. Her lips curved faintly. In her eyes I saw, not the old coldness, but a faint relief. Snowy sunset on us, stretching our shadows long. Pole warm on my shoulder. Warm. The cookie's sweetness filled my mouth. Soft breath by my side, brushing my ear. Felt the winter wind, not as cold. From that day, I never slacked since. Up at dawn each day, grinding tofu with Jane and Jake, making tofu, selling, whatever Jane said. I took it well. She showed my flaws. I took note. Kept fixing. I lacked grinding strength. Used the quiet dawn. Ground more. Arms too sore to lift. Rested a bit. Resumed. Couldn't get the brine right. Used a small spoon to test. Till tofu tender and firm. Curd, silky, and smooth. Not a sudden change. That day, at the lane, Jane stood for me. Fought Leon for me. Saving my name. That warmed my heart. In this world, a woman's name is everything. Easy to break, but hard to keep. Ran from a wedding once. Already sparked talk. If Jane struck when I am down, Sweetwater Lane, I'd have no place to stand. She had a sharp tongue, but her heart was true. Protected Jiang's and me, the Jiang daughter-in-law. Over time, I slowly learned tofu making. I got more nimble. She saw my effort, set aside her bias, quit bullying me, and sometimes taught me tofu tricks, like grinding soybeans, pour water slowly. That yields smooth soy milk, curdling soy milk. Stir one way, add brine slowly, for tender curds. When grinding at dawn, she'd give me the lighter sack. When I worked late, she'd leave me warm congee, and even add an egg. She'd even warm my frostbite salve by the fire. When I returned, applied it. So warm, no more piercing pain. I slowly found Jiang Ying wasn't born brash, orphaned early. Just a girl. She held the home, raised her brother, had to put on a tough shell. By being prickly, to fend off life's storms. From a common home, with parents to care, she'd be a sweet young thing, not slave over beans and mills each day, not fight for tofu coins, or argue till I am red. Days go by, business is okay. I watch the daily crowd, mostly porters, carters, and neighbors, all laborers, so I thought. perhaps change the topping to boost business. Jiang's tofu is smooth, but the topping's just tofu and soy. It has flavor, but lacks meaty taste. Common folks may find it okay, but for laborers, it tastes bland, won't fill, not a treat. My dad sells meat, raised in a butcher's. I know my food. After some days, I found a way. Mince fresh pork belly, add scallion, ginger, garlic, anise. Stir fry in rapeseed oil till the pork fat fully renders. It turns golden and crisp. Add the diced dried tofu and our house dark sauce. Stir and braise. When sauce thickens, coats the meat and tofu, and you get a bowl of richly fragrant meat topping. It smells so good, even better. Umami mince, chewy bean curd, salty fragrance blend together over silken tofu. For hardworking men, a real treat. Good as it is, pork costs much more than dried tofu. If a topping, costs would rise. I fear Ying thinks I am wasteful. Waste money. I felt a bit anxious. Poor at cooking. So I took Zhao aside, using my mix. Tried many times, adjusting the flavors, the meat tofu balance, until the topping, just right. Rich, not oily. When sure it was right, then, during dinner, told Ying this idea. I thought she'd object, or even scold me, but instead, she just tasted our minced meat topping, chewed slowly, and nodded. She nodded. Yes, do whatever you want. The shop is Zhao's from our parents, so you are in charge. I froze. Jiang Zhao looked up, gazed at Zhang Ying. He was stunned. His parents died young. He was young when they died. She hadn't said much. His sister mothered him. She cared for him. She'd give him the whole business. Next day, I went to Dad's shop, got some fresh pork. Dad saw it was for tofu. Without a word, he gave it at cost and added extra meat. Slipped it to me. My girl. No charge. Do well. We kept 2 flavors. The plain one 2 coins. The meat one cost more. 3 coins a bowl. We worried at first. Too dear. But then, the meat topping smelled great. Set it out. A crowd gathered. They tried a bowl. Loved it. Got seconds. A half hour. It was sold out. All tofu sold faster than usual. Jiang's tofu sold well, became so successful. Non-locals too detoured to this lane, just for Jiang's meaty tofu. Business boomed. Jiang Ying stopped worrying. She quit manning the shop. Free time. Sneaked to Lian's cloth stall. Lian was from Suzhou. He was handsome. He was mild. Ran a fair trade. Their siblings held them back. Past 20 yet unwed. Hit it off. Before, Jiang Ying went barefaced, hair loosely tied, often smeared with soy flour. Now she started grooming. Applied light makeup, combed her hair neatly, switched to plain cotton dress. Her fierceness softened, gaining some girlish charm. Some lane women gossiped, called her shameless. She never minded, kept her own way. Sometimes chose new cloth, made new outfits. Puzzled by hairpins, came to ask me. Like she taught me tofu. Told her with care. Pomegranate dress, gold hairpin, moonlit veil, cloud bun. I could see them getting sweeter. I knew good news was near. Months count. Profits doubled from before. I took half, picked a jade bangle. Crystal clear, dazzling. Jane had it hard so long. She deserved fine jewelry. But before I did, Jane was smiling, waving her wrist. Leon's silver jade bracelet with lotus scrolls. Damn it. Beat me to it. My old pride flared up. Seized her hand, slipped on the bangle. Still wear it. One on each wrist looks best. Jane eyed the pair on her wrists, laughed. Called me her sister. In-law, all old bitterness. Drifted away. Zach on the porch, saw our smiling exchange, eyes curved like crescent moons. My second spring with Zhao, new willow buds, trailing the moat. Swayed by wind, Ying got married. Lian looked plain, yet he spent big. Sui Shanglu, the best, 10 tables, grand sedan, draped in red silk. Music played from Sweetwater Lane to the cloth shop. The lane stopped to watch, more joyous than the magistrates. No Jiang elders. Ying asked my mother to dress her. Mom saw the splendor, held Ying's hand, worried. He is too generous. You be careful. Avoid a cruel mate. Ying smiled. Aunt, relax. I've no wealth, no figure. He wants a steady wife. At worst, split and sell tofu. Lily won't turn me away. I gripped her hand. Of course not. The tofu shop is your home. What a jinx, I added. Added fast. A happy marriage. And 100 years of harmony. Just before, Ying pulled me close, whispered in my ear. Zhao begged to wed you. I thought you were spoiled. No good match. Might hurt him. But now I see. My stubborn brother did one thing right. Kept you in his heart for years. Lily, bless yourself too. Veil dropped. Ying left to wedding music. I stood still, full of doubt. We were neighbors, but they kept busy. Since 8, Mom kept me home to sew. We barely met. How could he pine for years? The feast ended. Zhao and I walked by the moat, no one around. I finally asked, Zhao, had we met before? Zhao froze. He slowly signed. Side by side for months, I knew his signs well. Recalling fragments, I finally understood everything. I was 6. Zane was 7. Mom hadn't spoiled me yet. I trailed Dad. Wild kid. Bone broth built me strong. I was wild and fearless. Zane had just lost his folks. Ground, sold tofu. He was mute. Kids picked on him. He took pudding to the Jiangs. Accused of theft in deep winter. Caught by bullies at the locust tree. His load fell. He clutched his tofu, bolting. When fists nearly struck, I rushed in. I held a gnawed bone, stained with blood. I yelled, picking on the mute? What kind of skill? They saw my fierce look and fled. I raised his load, gave the bone. If bullied, come to my shop. Then I ran off. But that small deed, he cherished it long. He liked. Never that dainty lily, but that sturdy 6-year-old, a wild girl descending like a divine savior. Breeze stirs the willows. I reach for his hand. His palm is calloused, but warm and steady. He grips my hand back, fingers laced, won't let go. Sunset, our shadows melt into one warm shadow. Since her wedding, the tofu shop fell to Jack and me. We grew more in sync. I ground beans, made curd. He strained dregs and sold tofu. Sweat, what smooth, still booming. Jack and I talk. Half profit to my sister-in-law. At her in-laws, she needs her own wealth to stand tall. Jack just nodded. He revered her always. Years she toiled for him. Times improved. Can't forget. Topping needs much fresh pork from Dad's meat shop. Dad sells at cost. Won't take money. I feel guilty. Paying seems distant. Jack kept it in mind. He often brought Dad pear blossom liquor for the meat. Dad loves wine. Sees he is thoughtful. Tells everyone. Gained a kind son. Free. He couldn't hide his smile. Jiang Zhao saw Dad praise him. Wine came more often. Drunk, Dad hacked meat with his cleaver. Fingertips grazed. Mom was terrified. She shut the door and scolded them. Dad behaved. Jiang Zhao sent wine on feast days. Autumn leaves fall. Frost dew chill. Early winter. Deng Zhao had light snow. That morning, we opened the shop door. Saw someone huddled there, under a straw mat. Shivering. Now Deng Zhao prospers. Begging is rare. He brushed her hair aside. Yuniang planned to elope with me, who left me and boarded alone. Now thin and sallow, worn and withered, clothes tattered and stained, her beauty long gone. Seeing her purple lips, I felt pity. Had Jiang bring her in, find old clothes for her, heat bath water, make hot congee for her. Coming to, I asked about her life. Head bowed, she wept, she said no more. Still, she was Aunt Wang's daughter. Zhao and I took her home. Aunt Wang saw her, shoved her away like a plague, yelled, "Where did this slut come from? Dare come in. She works as a maid in Suzhou. You look like a ghost." Yunyang cried. Mom, Aunt Wang was heartless, set neighbors on her. I couldn't stand it. I pulled her to the Jiang home. She shoved me hard. She cackled wildly. She spoke in broken bits, showed a woeful past. The ship was a trafficker's trick, sold to a Jiangyan brothel. Forced daily to learn the arts, or get beaten. Struggled to return. Mom shut her out. She eyed me. She smiled sadly. Thank goodness, Lily. Thank goodness you didn't get on that boat. She then ran out like crazy, lost in the snow. I grabbed a coat. When I came out, she'd already gone. No one cared where she went. They used it for idle talk. Chewed and spat it out, like soy dregs. Part 2. A body found in the moat. It is Yunyang. She broke at last. She drowned. When she died, I felt ill. Days of sorrow brought a fever. Dizzy and burning hot. Mom tended me at the Jiang's and made bone broth thrice daily. I teased, back then, you feared I'd lose my looks from toil. Why not fear broth will fatten me? Mom fed me broth, she sighed. She sighed with regret. I was foolish, tricked by a seer. Saw your good looks, spoiled and wed well, that is joy. But now I know, joy comes in many forms, peace and ease, a tender caring mate. That is the greatest joy. He babbled for a bowl of broth. Mom believed. Wasted your youth. Mom's heartfelt words brought tears. Once well, Jiang and I drew savings, buried Yunyang, tore coffin, hillside grave, enshrined her at Qinghe temple to offer her incense. Back at the Jiang's, Jiang Zhao made dinner, broth on the stove. I frowned, wouldn't drink. He signed patiently. Drink it for strength. I saw his kindness. Recall my escape. He held me by the river. But for him, my end worse than hers. He is the hero who rescued me. I ran the cook, poured 2 cups wine, handed him one. Drink, I'll drink it all. Jiang's a lightweight. Paused, gulped it down. I drank my soup too. Smacked lips, puzzled by the weird taste. He had no idea Mom spiked the wine with an aphrodisiac. Soon, he flushed pink, his tipsy gaze. I pulled him in, pinned him down. His eyes glistened. Tipped head, asking sure. I leaned and kissed him, answered so. Next moment, he pinned me down. His palm gently stroked my back. Snow on the sill, candlelit embrace, young pride, early bitterness, all softened. Before fading, Mom said, wedding night, full moon, through a crack, just bare branches, not a glimmer. Never mind, I hugged his neck, into his neck, hearing steady beats, my lips curved softly. My moon is here, through all years, day and night, always by my side.